All right, hey, welcome back to ProgPod. This is episode 8, I think, right?
Yeah, 8.
8. And we are here. We finished up the countdown of our top 50 favorite songs, which was an ordeal. I hope you guys enjoyed that. It was a long thing.
Yeah, a lot of fun, though.
A couple of really long episodes. This is going to be a bit of a return to norm, this episode, where we kind of just talk about random things each week. And the main focus this week is actually going to be a series of shows that we saw. By a band that we both love called Dream Theater, which you've probably heard of if you're listening to this podcast. Yeah, that's basically what we're going to do. We went to the shows with our moms. So
We went to the first show with our moms.
Yeah, which was interesting.
Okay, so the week of April the 22nd, I guess, we had planned this well in advance. Me, Eric, my mom.
First, a little prelude.
Yeah.
Yeah, so actually, Brandon, you guys have been planning to go for a while.
Me and my mom, yeah.
Yeah,
Two of us.
had tickets to go see this Dream Theater show in Charlotte. And the thing with the show is that they were playing two sets. We always knew they were playing two sets.
Mm-hmm.
They were playing one set of their more recent stuff. They just released an album. And one set, they were playing Scenes from a Memory. Metropolis Part 2, Scenes from a Memory in full, which was quite an amazing thing.
Yeah, and they haven't done that since 2000.
Really? Yeah, I actually
They
didn't
did
know
that on the first tour, 99, 2000 tour.
Awesome.
When the album came out.
Nice. So you guys were going for a while,
Mm-hmm.
and actually what happened, which I don't know if you know, but your mom had the initial tickets, but she saw that they were like much better tickets, and so she bought the extra tickets, and then like invited me and my mom to go and get the tickets that they had gotten. They actually had me keep it a surprise from you that you were getting the like very front row seats until
we were walking all the way up, and I was like, I didn't know our tickets were this close or whatever. It's like, oh, I switched with them.
yeah, exactly. Which is cool. It was a good surprise, I guess. Yeah. So
yeah, we all drove up together, and me and Eric are obviously big Dream Theater fans, and I actually got my mom's them. She's been listening to them for a while now.
Yeah.
And Metropolis Part 2 is like one of her favorite albums.
Yeah.
So that's why she really wanted to go. And we sat in different places, obviously.
Yeah.
We sat much closer. We were like right in front of Mr. John Petrucci himself, their guitarist.
Mr. John.
And I thought the venue was pretty cool.
Yeah, it was cool. It was like a theater
style.
kind of thing, auditorium. It was almost like Charleston Performing Arts Center.
Yeah.
I've been there, but like Charlotte.
Yeah, and it was like there was a little more obviously more people than the shows we're typically used to going to, where there's usually just like 100 people or something like that.
Standing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this one had like
Bigger
seats
venue.
and stuff. This is obviously a little bit of a bigger venue because Dream Theater is like bigger.
Yeah.
In the first, I'm just gonna delve right into the concert unless you have anything you want to say.
No,
And I obviously knew they were playing Metropolis Part 2, and my mom kind of actually spoiled the first set for me.
Yeah.
She was like, oh, one day I was like walking in her office, she like had it written down. So this is what they're playing. I was like,
spoilers, man.
I was like, okay.
Yeah.
But it didn't really bother me that much because I know.
Game of Thrones ends.
Yeah. Anyways, the first set they played, 4 songs from Distance Over Time? And then the two, one from Black Clouds and
Untethered Angel, Presence of Enemies, Falling into the Light, and Barstool, and Pale Blue Dot.
Yeah, so 4, Pale Blue Dot, so they played a bunch of new stuff, and then they played A Nightmare to Remember and In the Presence of Enemies, Part 1. And the mix was really, really good. It was really, really loud, which I had heard coming in, and I'd never wore like earplugs before or whatever at a show.
And I had.
I was
wearing
earplugs, and we actually met in the intermission, and I asked if I could use his because I thought I was going to go deaf in my right ear because it was like it was ringing very, very badly already, and it made a hell of a difference.
I had already, we were pretty far back, so like, and I already got the protection for the first half. Yeah. But I turned him into an earplugs man.
Yeah, you did. I'm gonna wear them at the show this Tuesday. But anyways, the first set was really, really good. The mix was really good. There were like a couple of blips in the first set in the mix, but like mostly like very good. And I definitely think the Distance Over Time songs for me are significantly better live.
Yeah.
Like I like them a lot.
So on the album they use a weird like vocal effect thing for James LaBrie's vocals.
Yeah.
And live, and this is kind of the thing we'll get more into, but live these 2 times we saw them, he's been like really good live.
Yeah, very good.
And it is a real shame that they use those effects because like just hearing it sung normally, like how his normal voice was so much better.
Yeah, actually, after the show, I upped Distance Over Time to a 4 on Prog Archives.
Nice.
But I think maybe if they didn't have that vocal effect, it could be like, I think it would make my year-end list.
Yeah.
And I can already say it's not going to make my year-end list.
Yeah.
It's a solid album, but it's not going to make my year-end list, I don't think. But I think it would make my year-end list if the vocals were just like not have that stupid effect on them. Because I don't know, he can clearly like sing still. He was amazing. Like, so the new songs were really, really good for me. Petrucci's guitar tone is like incredible, and live it's like even better. And I feel like Dream Theater like mixes like live. It seems like all the guitar riffs like seem heavier live to me.
Yeah.
Like they just punch a little harder live.
Absolutely.
Especially a lot of the like Metropolis songs, and then also I think the most noticeable one, they played "Pull Me Under" as the encore, which is their most popular song, and I think on that song the riffs like are sound much heavier than on the studio version.
Yeah, those are like the chuggy parts.
Yeah, the chuggy parts are like way and I prefer how they mix that live compared to the studio.
As well.
But anyways, kind of getting out of order here. Just thought the mix was really good, and the first set was really good, and I was like already blown away before they did like.
Yeah, and I have a slightly different perspective on the first set than Brandon, because Dream Theater is one of those bands that I really like, but I haven't listened to all their albums. Like, I mentioned before in this podcast that sometimes when I really like a band, I, like, avoid listening to certain albums by them, or I listen to them very slowly, just so that I, like, have something to look forward to from that same band.
When you're, like, 80?
Yeah, or even, like, just, like, in the coming year, you know? So I hadn't heard a lot of the songs. I heard a couple of the songs off Distance over time, just because I'd been listening to the singles and heard a little bit of that, but I hadn't heard, they played A Nightmare to Remember from Black Clouds and Silver Linings, and I hadn't heard that, and I hadn't heard, like, most of the songs off this. I heard, like, a few of them, like the singles. I heard Fall Into the Light and Untethered Angel, but that was pretty much it. And those songs were really good live. They really clicked for me live, even though it was, like, the first time seeing them. You know, obviously, Dream Theater is a band where you appreciate it more and more the more familiar you are with what they're doing, because like it's so like can be like really complex. There's so many different things going on, so many reprises and things. But I really loved the highlight of the first set for me. Seeing them first time was A Nightmare to Remember.
So that was mine.
Yeah, that was really cool. And never hearing that song was like crazy because it's a pretty long song, right?
It's just under 17.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I know it's 16 something, but so yeah, it's just a crazy song. It starts off with the whole really evil synth thing, and it's got that really cool riff that it keeps coming back to.
Yeah, so it's like, why can't I do it?
I can't do it now.
Yeah, I know. We've been doing it like all week. When we record, we can't do it.
Yeah. But it's a really good song. It's an awesome song.
Yeah, and they do that, like, the riff you're talking about. I love, like, a part we both really like a lot is where in the middle it does the, like, slowed down version of that riff, and then, like, Jordan does that cool thing.
Goes crazy with the
riff on the
keyboard.
Yeah. It's really cool.
Awesome. So I really enjoyed that first set, even despite not hearing most of those songs before.
So obviously we were both, like, we have this thing where we're at concerts where we don't talk about the show until we're somewhere sitting down with a beer. It's our rule. We always do it. And this show had an intermission. And, you know, a lot of other shows we go to, there's, like, multiple bands. There's, like, time between. But we don't ever talk about the show. We literally will talk about anything but the show. We don't talk about music, but
I feel the need to justify this for a second. Because I feel like people always think that's really weird.
People do.
But it's almost like in a movie or something. It's like when you're in a movie, you know, and someone leans over to you and it's halfway through and you're like, this movie's really good, isn't it? And it, like, almost spoils the conversation. Like, honestly, one of the best parts of, like, watching a movie or show is, like, talking to your friends about it afterwards and, like, seeing what they thought about it.
Yeah, and also, like even with the movie analogy, like, it's like, what if the ending is really horrible?
Yeah, exactly.
And, like, what if something, like, what if they're just, like, what if Dream Theater came out in the second? This wouldn't happen, but they just, like, sucked. Like,
yeah, exactly. And then another reason for doing that is that, like, you want to be in a position, in a place where you're not going to get interrupted. So you don't want to start talking about it, be like, oh, that was really awesome.
Yeah.
We have to go back in now, you know, so that's...
And we always have, like, a lot to say about it.
Yeah, it's usually, like, a solid hour long.
Yeah, just, like, talking. But anyways, we're looking at each other, basically, during the intermission, switching earphones. And then we went back.
And Brandon was saying, meep.
Meep. And, you know, they had some... we came in, and, like, during the intermission, they put some some cool imagery on the board that was very, like, Metropolis-y, like, of that universe. Yeah. And... they're playing, like, some, like, really, like, old-timey music as well, which I thought was really fitting.
Yeah.
And then the lights, like, went out, and they, like, did this, like, cool, like, video thing of, it was, like basically showing, like, the cast or whatever of the story of the it's a concept album if you're not aware, but you should be. if you're listening to this, don't know what ProgPod Part 2 is.
Yeah, just actually stop listening to the podcast and then go listen to it.
Like 12 times.
Yeah, and like read the lyrics with like a lyric book or something. Yeah.
Buy it on vinyl.
Yeah, and then you can come back to the podcast if you want.
Yeah. But yeah, anyways, so they came on, and the album opens up with like a hypnotherapy thing, and it's really
those ticks, the clock.
Yeah, the clock. It's just every time I hear that, I'm just like, it's about to happen.
Oh my God. Yeah, honestly, it's like Pavlov's dog thing. Yeah, where it's like I probably said that in this podcast like 100 times for some reason. I brought it, but yeah, it's like you hear the ticks, you're like, oh, this is gonna be amazing. Yeah. And hearing it live, like really loud over the big speakers, and like watching them kind of like start coming out.
And as John comes out and just playing those beautiful acoustic drums he's got going on.
Just so awesome.
And you know that the whole like set. I'm not gonna go into like every single detail. Because I could talk about that album for like 5 years. Yeah. But everything was really, really good. The mix was like I thought they like didn't have any mix issues in the second set there. And James was really good performing that album, which I think it's one of their older albums, 1999, I think. So I only been in the band for like 7 years at that point. Yeah. It's a vocally like straining album.
Absolutely,
he's much significantly older now. And he's been known to, from what I've read on the internet, he's been known to not be a good live performer over the last decade or so.
Yeah.
That's been the thing, the complaint.
People have really been hating on him a lot, like on the internet. Yeah. Like, over the past couple decades.
He is always the subject of all of the hate in Dream Theater.
If people don't like Dream Theater, it's like because of him.
Yeah, it always is.
I feel bad for him for that because he's like a really nice guy. Because
I met people on like the prog metal subreddit. I'm like, I really like the instrumentals, but just the singer just doesn't do it for me. Yeah. Which is weird because I don't know. He's always done it for me. I've always liked him a lot. I think he like fits well with the band.
I couldn't imagine them with like another singer.
No, it would be so weird.
Well, I mean, their first album has like another.
Yeah, singer. He was really bad. But yeah, he sounded great. The band sounded great. And just seeing it live, it was so much like I obviously love it studio, but it was like at the time it was my favorite like listen of the album, I guess, seeing it live. It was just so amazing. And I was right next to John, and he was just doing some things with his guitar.
He was looking at you.
Just mean mugging me.
He's like super ripped too.
Yeah.
He like does bodybuilding and stuff.
His beard does bodybuilding.
His beard does, yeah.
But it was really good, and the highlight for me was obviously Finally Free, which is the final song on the album. Just really, really good. And like you said, I'll let you say that actually. But everything was just really, really good throughout that whole entire set. And it was just like an amazing listen and watch of that.
I 100% agree with that. Just watching the whole album unfold so seamlessly live was not only really cool just because I like hearing it, and it had been a little while since I'd really had a good listen to the album too, because I'd been kind of anticipating it for the show, so I've been kind of saving it up.
I did that too.
So that had been kind of a thing, and also just watching it was so impressive how they do it, how they just go from song to song without any break at all, and play all these incredibly complex parts. Like in songs like Dance of Eternity, obviously, and just watching John Petrucci nail the solos in Fatal Tragedy and Beyond This Life, and it's just they're just virtuistic. Every single person in the band is an absolute virtuoso, and they're super good. People they kind of have had a reputation always in my mind, even before I was really into prog metal, for just being a band that is super good technically and always executes perfectly live, and they 100% live up to that. And John Petrucci, he's a machine. He just nails it every time. I absolutely loved the whole set. There's a couple things that actually I always love Metropolis Part 2 of the album, but there are a couple things that really seemed more impactful to me live. Some of the more ballady songs, The Spirit Carries On, were always for me low points of the album. I always, I still like them whenever I listen to the album, but they were by far my least favorite songs of the album. And now seeing them live, that song live, and Through Her Words, especially Through Her Words actually, because that one's less religious-y. But anyway, so seeing them live really put a lot of weight behind the emotional impact, and also part of that was me being much more invested in the actual characters and the story, seeing it live, because they had all these kind of animations going on in the background, and also just the mixing was so good, and James LeBrie was like again like performing really well, so I could really hear all the lyrics like very clearly. Actually, there were a few lyrics that I'd always had like mixed up in my head.
The Beyond This Life one.
Yeah.
Echoes Hill.
When they say dreadful shooting at Echoes Hill, I always thought it was dreadful shooting that echoes still. So I learned something. There was one other one like that, but I forgot. So it was really cool. I just got really invested in the story, and because of that, I really embraced some of those like ballady tracks a lot more. And I think because I was able to put it more in the context of like from the character's perspective, like what was happening in the story. But my favorite songs, I absolutely loved watching sing Beyond This Life. That was absolutely awesome. And Dance of Eternity was really cool. But Finally Free was the highlight for me. Actually, no, sorry. I think the first show... Home was the highlight for me on the first show. Loved Home. Second show, spoilers, might have been different. But anyways, so Home was absolutely awesome. Finally Free was really good too. So Mike Mangini... Yeah. He like is their new drummer, and he's another person who gets lots of flack.
He's so much,
Dream Theater fan base is weird, man.
Dream Theater fan base can be a little much.
They can be a little much, yeah. It's just really, really weird sometimes. But he's like a really, really talented drummer.
Yeah, like you could make a case that he's like the best drummer in the world. You can do that with a few dudes, but like there's a case to be made for him.
Yeah, no, he's just like super talented, and he's just like really good, and he basically like he added a bunch of stuff. So sort of halfway through. Finally Free, or more than halfway through Finally Free, there's like on the album Mike Portnoy plays like this really cool kind of like
drum
thing. I don't even know, it's like a drum solo, but like the guitar stuff is still like riffs are still going on.
Yeah, he's playing that like he's doing that, and then Portnoy is like he's doing this like one melody where it's like dun, 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 and then like in between that stuff he'll do these like crazy like fills and stuff and other stuff like in really odd times and stuff.
Yeah, and it almost sounds like it doesn't belong.
Yeah, but this is like my favorite really part of the entire album.
Yeah, I love that so much. But Mike playing live, he like added even more stuff to that. Like he was like going absolutely nuts.
Yeah, absolutely nuts.
Yeah, I mean, not as nuts as he went. A couple days later.
Yeah.
But anyways, yeah.
Yeah, but I've heard on Reddit that he's like. They're letting him like improvise that part a lot, and like apparently he's changing it every night.
which is cool.
But so it was really good. Obviously Metropolis was amazing, and obviously like I have a similar emotional connection to the album. I think like because I've been like listening to it longer, all that stuff that like happened to you at the show, like maybe like happened to me like in the past. I don't know, because I've been listening to that album for like almost like 4.5 years now. Yeah. When I first like really got into Dream Theater, there was like a month period where I was still like every single day. I like couldn't go a day without it. And so obviously it's really emotional for both of us. So then they played Pull Me Under as the encore. And I thought that like was really, really good. It's a song I've always liked. It's like their most popular song. I say the word popular like really lightly here, because if I ask like 100 people randomly, I would not think most people would know that song. But it's a really good song still, and it came across live really well, and I got like super into that song live the first time we saw them. I thought it was really well done, and the mix was so good. And
they're really energetic. They were running around.
And I think that song is like vocally the hardest song to do in the entire set. Because Images and Words is a very good vocal performance in my opinion. And I thought James did that song pretty well as well too. But I love that as well, and it was like amazing. Yeah.
All right. So we both had a really awesome time at the show.
And my mom loved it.
And my mom loved it as well. She came at it from a different perspective because she wasn't a fan of Dream Theater at all. She actually a really funny story. One time I played this album for her. We were on the way home from Wilmington for like Christmas or whatever, and she literally got pulled over when I was playing Fatal Tragedy, and she like blamed it on the song. She was like, "Oh, it was making me freak out and go too fast." It was hilarious. And she didn't realize that. I don't know if she still realized that this is the same
song. Yeah.
But anyways, so we're gonna talk to my mom for a second and let her tell you guys what her thoughts on it were. But so we're gonna have you talk about your experiences at the Dream Theater concert, since you are not a huge prog rock and/or metal fan, and
it's not that I'm not a fan. It's just that I don't know.
You're not very familiar with it.
I'm inexperienced.
You're unfamiliar with it, and so we want to get your perspective because we've just been talking about our experience, and we'd like to get your perspective on your experience.
Okay. All right. Well, there you go.
So go ahead.
Okay. Well, this was my first experience into progressive rock music, and I really enjoyed it. I did not know what to expect at all. I had never been to a show like that, and I was actually very impressed. I thought I'd never seen a setup like that on stage before. I felt like the musicians were excellent.
Did you like Mike Mangini's little like drum booth?
His drum skyscraper?
Yeah.
I couldn't believe that. I have been to many concerts over my 51 years, and that was the first I'd ever seen anything like that. Okay. I felt like they were excellent musicians, and the vocals were fabulous. I thoroughly enjoyed it. Yeah. I did not regret going at all.
Yeah, nice.
Yes.
Well, I'm glad you enjoyed it. Did you have like a favorite moment? Do you have like a favorite moment from each set or?
Well, I mean, it was all so new to me.
Yeah.
I had not really listened to any of it or if I had, I didn't recognize it.
Yeah.
I can't say that I liked one set over the other. I was really amazed at how much I did like it because I wasn't sure what else. I'm not going to say that I dreaded going because I didn't. I was actually looking forward to going and listening to something
having a
new
experience. Yeah.
But this was really better than I expected it to be. Nice. Truthfully, in all areas.
Very cool.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, that's really good. And you got a shirt, right?
I got a shirt and I wore it.
You wore your shirt.
I wore a shirt to Jazz Fest. To
really?
New Orleans Jazz
Did anyone comment on it?
Yeah,
I got a comment on it.
You did?
Yes,
what did they say?
Well, someone asked me about it, and I tried to explain it, and I think I did a pretty good job.
Did they ask you, like, what is Dream Theater? Or did they say, like, Dream Theater?
No, what is that? And
I
explained it, and I said, I promoted...
You don't belong in a jazz fest.
I promoted ProgPod. I said, my son and his friend are doing this...
So got some fans.
Get some fans.
Nice.
Wherever we can get them, take them, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
All right. Awesome. Well, awesome. Yeah. Thanks for being our first guest on ProgPod.
Woo! I'm so glad I brushed my teeth today.
So after that show ended, we went back to the hotel and had a really long discussion over some tasty brews. And we got our talk in that we were talking about. Yeah. It was really nice. It's probably like an hour-long discussion almost, where we all kind of went around in a circle and talked about it.
And we always do this thing where like we try to place it amongst our favorite concerts, kind of like amongst our top 5 shows we've been to. Yeah. And the next morning, I thought about it and I put it at number 3. Yeah. And I think you also put it at.
I did also put
number
it at number 3. Yeah.
So it went really high. It was only behind Steven Wilson. And Steven Wilson being 2, and then the second time we saw Haken.
And for me, it was Steven Wilson was number 1, and then the third time seeing Haken was but also Leprous we saw them that time as well.
So we drove back that day, and it was fun. It was fun or whatever. Yeah. And then go ahead.
Oh yeah, so I was gonna say that like. We were both really, really excited to see the concert, and we both had such a good time. But I feel like, in me anyways, I'm not going to speak for you, but I feel like maybe it's the same thing. Like, there was a little bit of melancholy in it, because it was sort of like, oh, they might never play that again. Like, we might never be able to see them play that album again. Yeah, because, like, they're, like, an older band, you know. They probably don't want to revisit that all the time in all their concerts. They want to move on and play different stuff. Maybe they'll play an anniversary for a different album, but they might not ever get
I think they are a band that, like, I kind of feel like they won't ever play that again in entirety, but I do think they really love. I think they really love that album and cherish that album, and I think they do like playing it like live like that.
You can tell when they're like.
I think they look like they're into it, and they seem into the story still, and into the. And I still think like all members, the 4 that are there, still think that's our best album.
Yeah.
I can't speak for them, obviously. And I know they always like flick towards the future, which is fine, but like you can be proud of something in the past too. I think.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So we got home, and a couple days went by, and it was a Friday night. It was a warm Friday night in Charleston, and I actually had just gotten done doing an observing thing at a telescope, and I didn't know if I could hang out with you guys actually, because I kind of was tired, kind of wanted to go home, but you guys were like, "Oh, we're going to hang out," and I was like, I'll go hang out. I'll go hang out with my friends on this Friday night, and then. So I went and met Brandon, and we started talking about like remember that concert. Yeah. Does he always do the thing where you like remember that?
Yeah. The thing that happened like a second ago.
Yeah, and pretty much all we could talk about was like that whole.
Like we were with our friends, but we were kind of just like talking about that like separately.
Yeah, we'd say like remember that first set that they did.
And I'd be like, remember when they played that second set? Though?
Yeah, it's like, do you remember when they played that encore? Yeah. So it was awesome. So we were talking about that, and we kind of got an idea in our heads. I think maybe I initially said it.
Yeah.
But then you it wasn't initially like very serious.
And I took it. Like, I was like, let's do it.
Yeah, but I was like, what if we went and saw them again on this tour?
Yeah, and like the date that was like closest was Jacksonville. Like it was like midnight Friday night.
Yeah.
And the show was tomorrow in Jacksonville, like that night.
Yeah.
And that was the last time they were gonna be like in our area.
Yeah,
like,
they were going to like Texas after that, right?
And you were like, what if we went and saw them? I was like, I don't have anything going on tomorrow.
Yeah,
Let's look how much tickets are. It's only 3 hours away.
Yeah. So we like, it was kind of a scramble to get tickets because like we were going on all our websites and we just had our phones. We didn't have like our laptops, and like a few of them were different prices. And we're like, where are we gonna have seats or whatever? But we eventually found tickets. And we bought them. We did it. We were like pretty stoked about it, honestly, for the rest of the night. We ended up departing our friends like somewhat early.
Yeah.
Because we were like, we gotta go home and rest. Because we knew it was gonna be a big day.
Yeah, and we got he picked me up at like noon the next day, and we drove to Jacksonville. And this is going to be a little off topic, but I have to talk about how weird Jacksonville is, I think. First.
Oh, yeah, no, that's actually like a good...
we got to Jacksonville around like 4:30 or so on a Saturday afternoon, and there was just like nobody there.
Nobody.
Like it was like a ghost town.
It was like it was dead. It was like...
And I thought in my head, like, am I wrong that Jacksonville is a populous city? Am I like just wrong about that?
Yeah.
And I looked at my phone, there's like 900,000 people that live there.
Yeah, it's like a lot of people.
Like almost 1 million people.
It's like the downtown area.
And everything was like closed.
Yeah.
And some people like said I think my like parents said this like, oh, it's like a business district or whatever. I'm like, sure, but like even
There's
like
still be some
like I don't know, like I go to Atlanta and there's a part like that in Atlanta and there's still like tons of people. I know there's more people in Atlanta, but it was weird.
It was really weird, and there's still stuff there. Like,
Yeah,
it was weird. Like it was all closed. There's still like stuff there that people should be wanting to go to.
I'd say like 80% of the people that were in town that day were going to the Dream Theater
yeah,
show.
Exactly, yeah. So it was a really weird experience because we got there and we're both like really hungry. And normally in like a big city, it's really easy to find a place to eat. Like you can just put in your phone and be like, oh, I want some food, and it'll show you like 100 good places. And like we did that, and like nothing was open. So we walked like half a mile or like almost it was like 0.4 miles or something. And like you found this place, and it like was like a burrito place, and it wasn't open. But then that was really weird. That was like a really weird
the
thing.
burrito place.
Yeah, super weird. Anyways, so I don't want to get too into the burritos.
Yeah, but anyways, we got to the show or whatever, and this venue was like very like kind of fancy almost.
Yeah,
it was a little bigger than the one we saw him in Charlotte, and there was like 2 different auditoriums, and in the other one there was like a symphony going on.
Yeah,
which they had very good noise canceling things. Because obviously didn't hear anything.
Like you wouldn't have known there was a symphony.
Yeah.
So
there were just 2. There were like half the people were in there to see like Dream Theater, and half the other people were like old people like waiting to see the symphony. Anyways, we went to the show. And we had really good seats. We were again like in the lower like bowl of seats, like about halfway up or so. Yeah. And I was getting really stoked again.
I was too. Yeah,
it was like waiting like
it was like building up all day. It was like
And we listened to. We actually didn't listen to that much Dream Theater on the way.
No,
we listened to a couple songs, but. So they played literally like I knew they were doing this. They're switching like one song out the entire show, but they played an identical set. Yeah. And I'm just gonna say it. I'm just gonna start talking about the show.
Yeah.
But somehow it was like better than the other.
Yeah,
like,
it was absolutely. Yeah. It was
just like the mix was like perfect. There was like no issues.
Yeah, like the mix the first time was like good.
Yeah.
But this was like perfection.
Yeah, there was literally nothing wrong with it.
No issues. Yeah.
And the highlight this time, like LaBrie, like we talked about, had like.
Again. Yeah.
All-time performance.
Absolutely
I feel like it was unbelievable.
Yeah.
Like Metropolis, like he was very good the first time, but this time it was like he was like on studio basically.
Yeah,
for, like,
seriously.
For Metropolis, it was like I was like, this is like better than the studio version right now.
And it was crazy because so when we saw them in Charlotte, they had just come back from like a 3-day break.
Yeah.
And I know one of the things that makes vocal performances like that so tough is like doing it night after night. And so I thought like, oh, maybe his vocals are like just good today because he's had a rest and had a break. But this was like he had a show like almost every night since we'd seen him last.
Yeah.
And so I was like, oh, maybe it'll be worse. But it was like somehow like better, like and like noticeably like much better.
Yeah.
We both independently said that too when we
the first set was again like amazing, even more impactful for me this time.
Yeah, way more impactful for me because I was now familiar with all the songs.
Yeah, with all the songs. Yeah. And just I don't know, I was just getting really into the Distance Over Time songs and Nightmare. And this time my highlight was In the Presence of Enemies.
Okay, that
part 1 was my highlight. So
my highlight was still A Nightmare to Remember.
Yeah.
But
the first set was just like incredible, and like after that, I was just like, oh, I can't believe the show is better. Like somehow, I can't believe like
unbelievable.
the show is this much better already. And when I say this is better, I'm not like slighting the other show. The other show was like phenomenal.
Like it was your third favorite show of all time.
Yeah, and this one it's just like on a different level. Like LaBrie was just like he just took it to that next level, and the mix just being perfect. Like I don't know, it was just so perfect. Yeah, that first set, obviously.
Yeah, so I really enjoyed that. Had an intermission.
Yeah.
There's a weird guy next to us.
There was a very strange person.
Showed you his dog.
Yeah, he was showing me. He was talking to me a lot. You ran away to the bathroom and made me suffer.
The bathroom.
To talk to this guy. Yeah. And this guy, he was like an older guy, and I thought he was like, oh, he's like an old school Dream Theater fan. Yeah. But then he like didn't actually know that much about the band. And,
yeah, he didn't.
He was like.
He's from New Jersey.
Yeah, he was telling me he like downloads songs from albums, and he showed me Metropolis without all of the songs in it.
Yeah, he hadn't heard
I was like, you gotta stop talking to me right now.
He started trying to talk to you like during.
Oh, he tried to talk to me during the set, and I almost like lost it.
Yeah, you needed to.
There was almost like a casualty.
Yeah.
But yeah, he was kind of annoying, but obviously didn't deter from my liking of the show. But yeah, anyways, intermission, like. Again, I was just like getting so stoked, and I think we both were like,
I was too,
just like even more so this time, like.
Yeah, because we both knew how good his vocals were the first time.
And I was
we were like looking forward to seeing that.
Yeah.
When it's carried on to Metropolis, Part 2. Yeah. So again, we came back in after the intermission, and heard those ticks.
Yeah.
The clock ticking back down, and the voice coming on. And it was really cool. And then just kind of slowly walking out with the strumming.
Yeah.
And I was. For some reason, I don't know if I've ever been more like hyped.
Yeah.
At that exact moment. Like, when I heard the ticking, because it was like, it was so good before, and I know it's going to be like even better now at this point.
One of my favorite things about like that opening song, the transition from Regression into Overture 22 is where it's like that keyboard thing goes like or whatever. And it's a reprise from Metropolis Part 1 actually. And that just gets me so hyped. And then drums was like, it like does that little drum thing, and then the like slight guitar comes in, and then just like the whole band just like explodes.
Yeah, it's awesome. Yeah, also Overture 1928 is a really good song. We talked about that a lot.
Yeah.
Because that's like, that song gets overshadowed a lot, I feel like, by Dance of Eternity. Because people talk about that song and like, oh, time signatures are crazy, which they are. But Overture 1920 is also a really good instrumental on that album. It's really cool how they go over like almost all the themes from all the songs.
Yeah.
It's super, super cool. Love that. And I love how that song ends and then transitions
into Strange
Stage
It's so good.
Yeah, it's like it's almost like a mirror. Like, parallels. Yeah. Really
Obviously, like we both just like super into it. And the whole show this time is just like it's very emotional. Everyone was just perfect, and they're playing. Obviously, like Home was amazing. Beyond This Life, Fatal Tragedy it's one of my favorite songs in the album. But it was so, for some reason this time it was like even more emotional. Like this time, like it's just so good. And like obviously, like you said, like he just nails that solo like every single time. Him and Rudess during that cycle, just like going insane.
Have I said the Jaws thing on this podcast
before?
I haven't said the Jaws thing. Okay, well, so like leading into the guitar, was my favorite thing. Okay, so leading into the guitar solo, John Petrucci. Well, first of all, the whole band is doing all this crazy stuff. Then John Petrucci does this thing where it's like no, and it's like a Jaws for John Petrucci. He's about to go absolutely.
Because he's basically just saying, "I'm coming. I'm about to be here. Watch out."
And everyone knows that's what's gonna happen. Even when you first listen, you know
you know something like bad is gonna happen. When I say bad, I mean really good. But
and then that the guitar solo, like in terms of like technicality, it's like almost just silly. It's like dude, what are you doing?
Yeah, first time I ever heard that, I literally didn't think someone could play like guitar. Like the first time I ever listened to that album, I was like, my jaw was dropped. I literally didn't know like a person could play like a guitar like that. Like,
just crazy. So that was absolutely awesome. And then and another thing about Metropolis Part 2 all the way through, and we talked about the transition from Overture. Well, we already talked about 2 of the transitions. But the songs all transitioning into each other like so.
There's not like a stop.
Exactly.
At all. They just like immediately bleed into each other.
Which is awesome. We talked about Fatal Tragedy, and then Beyond This Life is also another one that's like really cool. That was another one that has the really cool transition. It has the guy come back in, the miracle come back in at the end of Fatal Tragedy, and then it kind of like it starts off with that heavy riff at the beginning of Beyond This Life. It's like and
it has that really cool. I love the drum. I love the drum stuff.
The drums are wild.
And then that's actually when like I knew this was like an all-timer performance, because like James nailed the the part where it's like in the middle where it's just kind of like chaotic singing or whatever.
Oh yeah.
They continue to win. That whole part, yeah. He just like nailed that like super well. And I was like, oh boy, he just did that like so well. And like Strange Days of Rue, he like nailed that like the tough section like after like that really like cool guitar where it's like turn that part. He like nailed that too.
It's really cool. And then that song is like that song is also like hyper. I mean, I like most Dream Theater songs, but that's like a hyper technical song too. I love the first little guitar solo. Everyone always talks about the solo because there's like 3 solos in the song.
3, yeah.
And everyone always talks about like the second 2 more so. But I love that solo that comes in like 3.5 minutes or whatever, and it's like that crazy like sidewinder like guitar thing going on with the slides.
Yeah, I think the second one is the most talked about.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
That one, I feel like the second one sounds like the funkiest.
Yeah, that was weird.
It gets talked about the most.
Well, that song gets like really funky.
Yeah, where it's like the second one is the yeah,
it's crazy. So
yeah, and I love how like the instrumental part of that song, the long instrumental part of that song, and I've talked about this like off podcast with you, where like they do all that crazy like soloing stuff, but it always comes back to that like really like cool riff or whatever.
Yeah,
like they always like return to that like moment, whatever, which I think is really cool. How they keep like returning to that like main musical like motif, and then like going into something like crazy, and then it like works so well too. You like it kind of sounds like something that like wouldn't work very well, but like all like just works like beautifully.
It does, it's like keeps branching off in crazy ways from that one like thing.
But whenever they like decide to like come back to it, it always just like
it always works out perfectly. Yeah, it comes back to it like really. That's awesome. And then Dance of Eternity.
Yeah,
it's really good. To see live was impressive. To see live Home, amazing as well. They had the sex scene. Yeah. For the first time, I didn't hear the sex scene.
Yeah, I heard it.
Which was weird because I was on the left side.
Yeah.
And like, me and my mom both didn't hear that, and you did. But then, but I heard it the second time, obviously. And that was awesome.
And I think
the song.
Yeah, the song, and the thing that I think the crowd was a little like livelier at the second show.
Yeah, they were definitely more into it.
The vast majority of people were like really into it.
Yeah.
And James at both shows, like I think he really likes the song Home, or I think he really likes singing that song because he always wants people to sing.
He always tells people to sing Home when he does.
Yeah, and I was like, that is actually like one of my favorite songs to like sing to on the entire album because it kind of does just like have that like I don't know. The vocal melodies on that song are really good, I think.
I actually agree with that. And I was gonna say, I think like a lot of people, I've heard people say who don't like James LaBrie even, which I do like James LaBrie, but I've heard people say that that's like one of the songs where his voice like works, even for them. And I think that his voice works on like all their songs almost for me. But like for that song, it really, really works. Like his vocal style is like perfect in that song.
And I love like there's the really cool like before the choruses, if you want to call them that, they are choruses. They follow like a similar melody vocally, but like the lyrics are like different in every single one, like except for like the Home or whatever. But like the little like leads that like John plays, that little like little quick guitar lead he plays into like the chorus every time is so good, and especially the last one because he's like playing that like crazy technical solo, and like from the solo he goes back into that lead, and it's a little different from the first two because he's coming in from like a different solo, but it still is like a similar melody, and I love how it like comes into like the final chorus, and it has that really like Middle Eastern like ending like vibe. It has that at the beginning too, but at the ending it has that really like weird like guitar keyboard interplay.
Yeah, for like
and the bass is
somewhat long too.
Yeah. So that was a highlight for both of us.
Yeah, that was awesome. And then finally, Free.
Yeah,
was
again,
the thing
just
that
always
was played, and I actually so the first show Home was my highlight. This time, Finally Free is my highlight, and that can be attributed to a few things. First of all, James Breeze's vocals being like a little better, and then second of all. The drum solo.
Oh yeah, that's
like he's going absolutely nuts.
He was doing some things.
Yeah,
those drums. I feel like it was a little longer too. Like
it was.
He was just going like absolutely insane, and it like really worked. I still think it like worked well.
Yeah.
And it was the drumming was like nuts in that part. That was like one of the most wild I've ever been by like a live performance of drums.
Yeah, it was crazy. So it was awesome. Came back for the encore.
Yeah. Played
Pull Me Under again. I like that more again as well.
Yeah.
And because the vocals were better a little bit. Yeah. Yeah, and then we drove back to Charleston.
Yeah, and then that is now the second time seeing Dream Theater is number 2 for me now.
Yeah.
And the first one actually got bumped down to number 4 because I bumped Steven Wilson to 3.
Oh, nice.
So I have two Dream Theater shows in my top 5 that I saw within a week of each other.
Yeah. Awesome. Yeah, so I absolutely love that show as well, and just the whole experience of driving down to Jacksonville,
just kind of doing it on a
3.5 hour drive, and just like being like, oh, we're just gonna do it.
Yeah, and on the way home we like talked about the concert for a long time, and then like listened to lots of Dream Theater, and kind of just gushed about random Dream Theater songs. We listened to a bunch of other music too. We actually had like really good listens of music.
We did. I had a really good listen.
Yeah.
We listened to Dream Theater for a long time, and we listened to a lot of Beardfish for some reason.
Haken too. Yeah.
It was really cool. So that's honestly pretty much the show for today.
Yeah,
right?
We'll do our song recs.
And before we do that, I want to give a shout out today.
Yeah.
I want to give a shout out. The other day, I was walking back to my car from the climbing place, and there was a girl. I was wearing my Haken shirt, my green Affinity Tour Haken shirt, and this girl said, "Like your shirt?"
Oh yeah.
And I was like, I had like a shouting across the street conversation with her for a while. I was like, "Oh, do you like know Haken?" She's like, "Yeah." And I was like, "Oh, it's pretty rare to see someone who's Haken." She's like, "Yeah, it is." And like, it's cool.
Why did you not wed her?
I don't know. I should have married her right there. But if you're listening to this podcast, girl on the street, thank you for being a Haken fan as well. I think that was one of the first times that's happened to me, actually, ever.
I've never had anyone recognize
On
a
a
Haken
Haken
shirt for me.
I've had people recognize an Intronaut shirt.
We had people recognize the Dream Theater shirt after the second show, which was surprising.
That was like a pretty short turnaround. That was like, it was like the first time.
Yeah, because he gets the Train of Thought's one of his favorite albums of all time.
Nice.
I think.
Yeah.
That's what he said. Shows were great, obviously.
Yeah.
Super good. Would recommend seeing Dream Theater live.
Would see them again.
Yeah.
I'm probably gonna see them anytime they come.
Yeah, they've like become that for me as well.
Yeah. I was like with Haken. They go within like a 7-hour drive. You gotta go see Haken. Literally though.
Haken's now just like closest.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, whatever's closest.
Yeah.
They're only playing in California.
Yeah.
All right. So now we're gonna do our song recs. Do you want to go first?
Yeah, I'll go first.
Yeah.
So my song is off a split EP by 2 bands called Minsk and Zadokreb. And Minsk is actually not from Minsk at all.
Yeah, no, they're not.
They're from like Chicago.
No.
There's a reason for the name on Bedlam. I think it's because like it's a city. Apparently, it's a city that's been like destroyed a bunch of times and like burned to the ground a bunch of times, and it's like always been like rebuilt, and like it's supposed to symbolize a phoenix like rising from the flames, and that's why they chose the name. And Zadokreb is a band from, what country are they from? They're from like
Switzerland or France?
France.
I think
France
France.
sounds right. Yeah. So Minx is like a progressive, atmospheric, like sludgy type metal band, and Zadokreb's probably like less proggy, I would say. They're like sludgy and like kind of like doomy at times. They kind of have a sound like all to themselves, I feel like.
Yeah.
They're really like not accessible at all. You always make the joke that
that they're like no.
The prog band, yes. This band would be called No.
Yeah, because they're just like really mean sounding.
Because Yes is very cheery a lot of times, and this band is like not
like
that
slow and aggressive.
Lots of harsh vocals too, like that are not like even accessible harsh vocals. But anyways, these 2 bands did a split EP last year, which actually made my album of the year list last year. I liked it a lot. I thought it was the best thing both bands had ever done. And the album art is really, really cool. So if you don't listen to the song, check out the album art, because I think it's some really good artwork. But the song I'm going to pick is actually by Zadokreb, and the song is called Silent Gods. It is a 13-minute song. It's a really cool song. It's my favorite Zadokreb song, and has like a lot of different like moving parts. A lot of like different like genres are being covered. It opens like really slowly with like some clean vocals, which I feel like they don't use clean vocals like all that often. I feel like as they've gone on, they're starting to use like a little more though. It opens with some really cool like vocal melodies, like really like eerie melodies as well, and really like minimalistic instrumentation. And like that lasts like for a while, like three or so minutes in the song, I think, before like a heavy riff comes in, and then it like kind of like explodes in this heavier riff. And there's some more like harsher vocals and stuff like that. Some really cool guitar work. I love the guitar work on this song, and the drums are also super cool. The song kind of has this like really like full circle feel, because it like does that thing in the beginning where it's really like more subdued, and like more clean and whatever. And the song like throughout the middle is much heavier and much harsher. And then like at the end it does this like really cool like vocal thing again, like similar to like the first part, but it's like harmonized. It's like I think the whole band is like partaking in this, and they're like they're saying like the chorus or whatever basically, and they're saying like Silent Gods, and it's almost like a tribal like hymn or something. It sounds very like primal, and it like it's really really like ominous. Like every time I listen to the end of the song, I think like I feel like the world's about to end. Like almost it makes it feel like doom is like impending or something, and like there's nothing you can do about it. And the song like makes you kind of feel that way the whole way, but it ends like perfectly like to make you feel that way. And maybe some people don't want to feel like that, but I think it like puts you in that like mood like really well. It's a really cool song, and I definitely recommend checking out the album. It's an EP, but it's a pretty long EP. It's 37 minutes long. So some albums aren't even that long. Yeah. But yeah, Silent Gods by Zattercraft.
Nice. So my song, I chose to do my song. I'm actually going to not talk about it nearly as much because I'm not even that familiar with it. I've only listened to it like once at this point. But it's a really good song, and I wanted to pick it because it's a Dream Theater song. Oh. And I wanted to have it be in honor of Dream Theater since that's what we've been talking about all episode. And so the song is their first 20-plus minute song, A Change of Seasons. And that song is really good. And it's my favorite of their songs from their like early discography. If just songs. I don't like it as much as like Awake and Images of Words, but I like it more than any of the individual songs on those albums so far.
Yes, generally regarded as like one of the best, if not the best, their best song.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Oh, at least amongst Dream Theater.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's like usually it's like that Octavarium and 6 Degrees, like the Holy Trinity normally. Like
nice.
Of 3.
Okay. Cool. Well, so that's the one that I am giving you. All right, and that's the end of episode 8. We hope you enjoyed this episode. Since it's a little bit of a return to the form of the first 2 episodes anyways. And we'll see you next time.